Hello, world. So I have to admit, this is still a little bit awkward for me going live, and that is exactly why I'm doing this. I'm currently leading a visibility challenge, leading myself and leading other women through being visible, next level, online for 11 days from ashamed to unchained. And if you want to participate, just comment unchained below. It's free currently, and later it'll be a paid program. And you probably don't know me. I'm Samia Phoenix, mentor for magical women reclaiming their voice, their body, and their source so that they can deeply embody what they've been searching for on the outside, so that they can become what they've been craving for. And I founded Dragoness Rising, the art of being you, as a movement of women who stopped hiding and who are now reveling in the art of becoming who they really are. And I want to tell you a little bit of my story, some parts I haven't really told before. That is one of the prompts for this challenge. And I'll bring you back into the past with me. I have a few notes here because there's a lot I want to tell you. YouTube lives are different. Everything looks different. And you're faced as something mirrored of what you're doing. So I'm standing in the university hallway, waiting for my theater class to begin, electrical tingling throughout my body. Excited for the class to begin, but I'm not excited so much for the theater class. It's not the class that lights me up. I'm electric at the thought of seeing him. His dark eyes had pulled me in. There's just something magical about him. He's different than the German men. And he barely speaks German, and my English is something I've only used in English class and I've never really applied. So I feel I can't really talk to him. But still, I'm just drawn to him. We're in class together. I know he's seeing me too. And there he is walking down the hallway. And the floor just sinks away from beneath my feet. He's holding hands with another woman from my class. And he comes up to me right away. And before he can even say something, I say, "It's fine." And I smile. And I'm not fine. He kept on calling me on my cell phone. But to me, he's just dead from now on. He has no idea how massive my pain is. And I felt just embarrassed that I was into him and he was obviously not into me. And I didn't want that he thinks he owed me something. So I was fine and he was just dead to me. And this pain really pulls me into darkness. Giving up on love. I swear to myself that love is something I'm not seeking anymore, ever. Like, in fact, I'm not wanting it anymore. I'm the one now playing around, not being serious about it. So I have one fling after the next just to numb my pain. So months later, I'm with my handsome date in my student room in the student city, dancing on my desk in front of this huge window on the 18th floor, looking down into the darkness of the English garden, trying to feel alive. Why am I not happy and fulfilled? I'd done everything I was supposed to. I achieved so much. I had almost perfect grades in my Masters of Arts, which I'd worked so hard for. I aced the assignments, but producing the papers was just a torturous birth of every page. It just didn't come easy for me. I felt blocked in my creative flow, which I made up for with determination. So I excelled at everything I did. Everywhere I completed internships, they just wanted to keep me. But I wasn't really into working for cultural institutes and theaters and newspaper. I don't know why. I thought I wanted it, but it wasn't what I was looking for. People liked me. I made sure I was pleasant to be around. I was so nice. I always listened to others, even if they didn't know when to stop talking ever. I gave them the assurance they wanted by nodding supportively without saying much myself. Often I froze just with a huge apologetic smile because I thought whatever I had to say would just not be good enough. And by the end of my master's program, after 6 years, I just couldn't do it anymore. I was feeling so depleted. Although I tried to keep myself fit and healthy, I was extremely disciplined, but I kept on getting sick. And all the doctors had for me was just more and more pills. And by now, I tried to avoid interactions with most people because they drained me so much. I couldn't take it anymore. I even went different paths to the train so I wouldn't encounter certain people. I was hiding. I just rather wanted to walk alone. I just could not tell them that I didn't want to spend time with them anymore. I didn't want to hurt their feelings. And I kept good relations with each of my family members. Everything was okay. Although they've been fighting amongst each other since I was little. And I felt like I had to be the peacemaker. I listened to their pain, but it utterly exhausted me. And I couldn't really express what I thought and that I needed to stop them using me as a garbage can because they would just turn on me then. And I didn't want to lose them. Although I secretly longed to be somewhere else. All my friends and most of my family were just happy in this tiny little place where I grew up in southern Germany. So what was wrong with me? That it didn't seem enough? So as I was standing on the 18th floor by the big open window, I didn't really want to jump. But if I could have pushed a button to end my life at that time, I would have. Many nights I cried out in despair, and I didn't even know what or who I was speaking to, but I just asked earnestly, I just want to know if there's meaning to this life or not. I just need to know. I need to know whatever the answer is. Because I found the answers neither in church, nor in university, nor in relationships. And I realized they just weren't in the thoughts or books of others. And I would have rather died in despair than believing something I didn't really know the truth of, or just to be happy. So it was quite intense. It was quite extreme, but I just had to find the truth. So not long after this date, I got a text message from my mysterious love from theater class, reaching out again. At that point, I felt like I had nothing left to lose, and I finally take his invitation to see a theater performance of his. I don't know why I say yes. Like, where was this supposed to go? He was from Canada, traveling the world. I didn't even know what his point was, where he was going. I feel like I'm just wasting my time, my heart. But when I see him on stage, these magical eyes still pull me in. After the performance, I'm alone, standing in the lobby waiting for him. Everyone already left, and I feel so stupid. Like, what the hell am I doing here even? Like, what am I waiting for? But something in me just said, stay, stay, stay. And I didn't expect anything that night. I knew he'd leave Germany soon. But maybe exactly this letting go and the need of that this has to turn into a certain type of relationship helped me just to finally let go. And that allowed us to come together just like two magnets that night. All of a sudden, I could speak English really well. I have one glass of wine. We just couldn't stop talking. And we were traveling through Munich that night with the train, with the U-Bahn, up and down. And I remember this one guy just said to us, like it was so weird. The weirdest thing is like older man comes up to us, and I forgot, was he homeless or he was in the U-Bahn, and he comes up to us and he's like, promise me that you too, like that this is not just like a one night thing, that you are, this is like meant forever and you stay together. And we were just like laughing, and we're like, whoa, like what the heck? like, like what a weird thing to happen. And finally it's the last train, and I was like, where do you even live? Where are you going? And like communication was still a little bit, not so easy between us. And anyways, I figured he missed his U-Bahn, and I offered him he could stay at my place. And again, nothing of this was planned, but and then he said, we're in my room, and he said, but now I want to kiss you. And that kiss was just this endless, eternal vortex. Like that kiss was like, felt like the whole night. It was like nothing I've experienced before. Like it was just like, what was that? I was blown away. But the next morning I said to him, thank you and all the best. And I wished him good luck, and I said goodbye to him. And he wanted to come back and see me and invited me to a concert. And I said, no, I have to work. And I thought I'd rather like say goodbye to him. I'd rather leave him before he can even leave me. I thought I'd set him free. But he comes to see me at the place I worked at as a bartender. And I'm running this whole place on my own except the cook. And we just kind of just quickly go into the kitchen to give him a hug goodbye. And again, like, thank you. And, all the best. And he walks out, and I just suppress my pain and just pull it together. And like I start to serve guests. And there was this one guy that always sat at the bar, like always. He was a student, and he sat there with his drink, and he saw the whole scene, and he saw us in the kitchen. He saw him walk out, and he saw my face, and he was just like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "Mm-hmm." Sucked it up, and I thought I'd never see him again. But that night changed something for me. I stopped the flings. I just knew, okay, there is something more than this. There is something more to love, and I'm not gonna lower my standards like that anymore. And then I get this email a few days later. When I open it up, my whole body shakes. And I'm just thinking to myself, well, now you're telling me? After this whole year of being in Germany? Like, what the fuck? And I'm reading that he's confessing his love to me, that he's been into me since the very beginning. I wasn't wrong. and that there's been a misunderstanding, and he wasn't sure if I was just nice to everyone or if I was really into him, and he thought I'd probably have a boyfriend. And then at one day in the hallway, that other girl just took his hand because she saw there was something going on between us, and she just wanted to claim him for herself. And he didn't know how to react and didn't want to make a big scene, and also didn't know what the cultural etiquette was in Germany. And I just didn't let him explain. And he thought, okay, well, she's probably not into me. So, so it all had to do with not letting myself be really seen for who I really was and what I really wanted, and allow myself to go for what I want and not do the right thing. And I almost missed the love of my life because of that. And as I was spending Christmas at my mom's place, I had Skype calls with him, and he was already on further travels to Bali, Indonesia, where he was doing research for his thesis about Balinese theater, living with a Balinese family. And that Christmas, I knew I just couldn't go on with my life this way. I was so depressed, and I thought I just have to risk something, maybe everything. And trust my deeper sense, like I didn't know where this would lead and how this would even make sense. But I asked him, I said, I'd like to come to Bali. And we hardly really knew each other. And he said to me, come. So I bought a ticket, traveled to Indonesia all on my own, stayed in Singapore one night on my own, took this little dingy airplane over to Bali, arrived at the airport, and there he is. And he couldn't be too enthusiastic in greeting me, and even holding hands seemed wrong because that's just not proper in Balinese culture. So I wasn't quite sure how, oh my God, was this the right decision to come? Like, this is weird. And we stayed at this family for one night, and then we took off and went to Ubud, in one of these magical places, like surrounded by palm trees, with a pool, this little hut. And we had just the most amazing 2 weeks together. We still refer to this as our honeymoon because we never really had an official honeymoon after. And it was just so magical. And then a few months later, he came to visit me in Germany, met my family. I completed my master's. And it was clear for me that I'm leaving everything behind. So I traveled to Canada and I stayed. And the year after, we got married. And that was 15 years ago. So my family and friends thought I'd gone crazy and that I left my plans of becoming a professor in intercultural philosophy. In fact, I didn't do anything with my master's officially, didn't go into any employment. And my family especially felt that I'd left them. But I finally had started trusting my deeper knowing more than what I thought I should do. I started doing what made sense to me, even if it was going into the unknown, even if it didn't make sense to others. And I started seeing myself instead of focusing on what I looked like in the eyes of others. So I dropped everything and I started studying an array of holistic modalities because my body just crashed. I was so depleted from having been such a good girl for so long. And I studied integrative nutrition, trauma integration, intuitive healing, postpartum restoration, somatics, and I took care of my health and my nervous system from the inside out, from the deepest levels. I went from being an employee to being a business owner, from follower to leader, from following what others say to leading with what I deeply know, from doing what I think I should do the right way to trusting a deeper voice within, that source that I was looking for when I was younger, and valuing that more than what anyone else would say, more than anything. And it was quite the journey to becoming more and more me and letting that be seen more and more. And it still is. And here I am speaking about all this online, and some didn't like it. Some felt triggered and threatened by it and asked me to stop, to change my business, basically, my online presence, my website, my content. And it was a moment of really standing on the fire and checking in with what I really knew. And if that was true, what they said. And if that was true, to stop that. And it wasn't. And I thought I might lose everything. But I just couldn't compromise anymore what I really knew. So I didn't. And others loved it. They saw themselves in it. And I gained the most amazing connections and clients and opportunity I could have not dreamt of even. Working with magical women, reclaiming their voice, their body, and their source. And radiating that embodiment into their personal life, into their work with their clients, and drawing from their own inner resources. Being truly resourced when life is lifing, when pressure hits, when people don't like it, when we're just being ourselves. And at the core of all it is seeing who we are and what we really are, and letting that be seen by others. Not shying away from it, not covering it up because some might reject us, because they're projecting their fears onto us. And I tell you more about that in my visibility challenge, where we dive really deep into that topic, from ashamed to unchained. This challenge is where women have unshamed their online visibility because they've learned how to use their fear as fuel for their fire. And if you want to learn more, just comment Unchained and I will send you the link, and I will send you the details. And if you didn't get the memo yet, this is for women only, but just comment Unchained below and we'll dive in together.